Hello, beautiful people. How are all of you doing today? Hello! How do you do, chat? How have you been? Alright, chat. How do you do? How have you been? Chat, today is actually going to be an actual big stream. Like, large stream, like sizable stream. So we go to fucking 5 reps. Fine. Fake? The fake is just on the no stall.
Benny's adventure team, assemble! Or not. Ow! Where did that come from?
Alright. But chat, we actually have... We have to redo the combos video, because I found a lot of new combos. So, yeah. Yeah. First things first, I want to check if this combo work with the default into D spam. Okay, bro, what the fuck is going on? What is this? The fuck is going on? Why am I on 3 FPS? Oi! Do I have too many Excel tabs open? Is that what's happening? Fuck, dude! Jesus Christ.
Rise with everybody, stand back! Cool it! Don't frostbite. Pyroclastic surge!
Oh fuck, I forgot to ungear. I forgot I need to ungear for this. Shit. Man. Doesn't seem like it works. But it might have just been bad RNG, so I'll try it again. started it a bit too early, I guess. Okay. It seems like it's not working this way. We're practicing on offline. I did check out a few things, but I wasn't practicing this combo. That was a bit annoying. Because that's his area.
Adventure time. Teamwork is dreamwork. Frostbite. Wrath from the sky.
Yeah, okay. So it's not much of a problem when you do it like this. Very cool. All right, chat. But the main setups that I want to add, I mean, there's the Kea setup and there's the Yelan setups.
Who's our target?
As well. Yelan is a lot better than I thought she would be for this, by the way. Like, significantly so. Yelan, no Tsingso. I actually like Yelan more than Tsingso in this team. I know, that's crazy, right? Is that an ER Sans angle? Yeah, it is. An ER Sans with Fab angle. Damage mod. I mean, we removed all of our damage. Of course, it's not going to do a lot of damage. He can't? No, that's awful. You're doing a normal attack when you dash? You don't need to. The initial hit of the charged attack triggers normal attack effects. Because, like, you know how, like, when you start a normal attack animation, or a charge attack animation, it always does the charge attack animation as well? For characters that can go into a charge attack directly? Well, that, for MAVUIKA, is long enough that it'll proc your normal attack based effects like Yelan and Tsingso. But yeah, this is the rotation. You just keep going like this. And the rotation is like really chill. And the team feels really good to play. And I just really like it. Why do you like Yelan more than Xingqiu in this team? Because you can do 18-second rotations. Like, you can actually do 18-second rotations in this team, which feels really fucking nice. And yeah, MAVUIKA doesn't need the res to interruption. And unlike Arlecchino, she can fucking heal, so it doesn't feel as bad not to have Xingqiu in a team like this. And Yelan's Hydra being like properly optional allows you to get a Pyrocrystallize with Shilonen on the next rotation without it being a problem. It's a bit harder with Xingqiu. And it's more cringe. What's the difference with the Farina combo? It's pretty much the same as the Farina combo. The bike doesn't do N1C. It does C. But the first, like, the first few frames of the charge attacks are the same as the normal attack. That's why if you do a, like, really, really short hold on your charge attack, it's just gonna do a normal attack. Those first few frames are shared. Because otherwise, the game wouldn't be able to know whether you're trying to tap or hold, and it would just always do N1 into charge attack, right?
Let's go find some treasure.
Taught. Taught indeed. So the dash resets it back to start? Yeah, exactly. So since you have to dash to line up your attacks to vape properly anyways.
Benny's adventure team, assemble!
You're re-triggering your on-attack effects 5 times during her burst duration, right? Like, pay attention to the Yelan procs this time. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the one we got at the start, right before MAVUIKA burst, for a total of 8 Yelan procs, which is not like the highest you can get, but it's also not that bad. You could also get 9 if you QE'd instead of EQ'd, but I can't be bothered with that. Can you do the same amount of charge attacks if you have to dash as if you don't have to? Yeah, you can. The best combo, just in terms of motion value, is C2 dash spam, which is the combo that allows you to get Yelan stuff as well. Yelan Instructor, just standard build. There is no fucking way you can get an Instructor build on Yelan while still having enough ER. I'll tell you that much, dude. Like, right now, I have 292 ER with Fav, and that's, like, I'm okay. Like, in reality, this build should allow for me to use Elegy, but, like, just barely. Like, this should be just barely enough ER. But yeah, and here you're like intentionally holding off on some of your normal attack weaves so that you don't apply hydro, so you can keep a pyro aura and crystallize it off. Anyways, I might as well go show the team in Abyss, right? Because it's not possible to min-max the second heal on E at the right time. Well, with this rotation, you can do a... Like, with this setup, you can do an 18-second rotation. But Yelan's E cooldown is 10 seconds, and the cooldown doesn't start until the animation is over, so it's like 10.5 seconds in practice. Which means if you want to do a 2E rotation, you need to extend your rotation's duration to 21 seconds. At which point, there's barely an upside to playing her over Singto. You can if you're struggling with ER, like extending your rotation isn't that big of a deal, but it won't be optimal. I wanted to put this on the second side. Am I an idiot? I'm an idiot. Another nice thing is that for people who don't have Citlali, this is a good vape team that lets you use Farina on the other side if you wanna use Nevilet. Will I do the Archon quest? I will do it today. Probably will start around 2 hours into the stream, I guess. Hey, what weapon is on my Farina right now? That is not what I wanted to do. That is Blacklift Longsword. Not exactly what I was aiming for, but it's fine.
Not done yet. The eternal oasis at long last. Wind strike.
The times beckon. Silence.
Wind strike.
Gather.
Strike a pop.
Okay. This is gonna be a little annoying, I guess. Something despawned.
Gather. Settle down.
That's okay. Alright. What's this again? Alright, it's Papilla. How should I do Papilla? I guess like this. Oh, fuck. What do you think you're doing, buddy? Buddy? Bucko?
Bow your head. The tides beckon.
Alright.
Quake. I will have order. I see your power. Solidify. Bow your head. Be sanctified.
The next person to say C1 BBW gets banned, okay? I'm like so serious right now. I am so for real right now. Mods. That was pretty fast. Not bad. But yeah, this team actually feels really good. I like it a lot. I like it a lot better than the Farina team, honestly. But I guess I like the Farina team better in AoE. But I don't like the vape teams in AoE in general. They don't feel great. As a surprise. Yeah, I guess it's just the self HP drain from Farina is actually a lot more annoying than I expected it to be for her. And also, Farina's 20-second cooldown on skill is kind of annoying, and second rotation with Farina can be a pain in the ass. So all in all, I kind of just prefer Yelan. You're doing C2D, yeah. Can you show your Yulon artifacts? Sure. 23 ER, 18 ER, ER main stat, no ER, 23 ER. That's my artifact. That's the stat that matters. An 81 crit rate for the Fav. Like, technically, I know I could get away with this. When I'm an elegy, right? Like, the actual ER requirements is, like, around 260. But I don't like being just barely enough. I prefer being a bit over. Is 140 enough for C1? I don't know. Have you tried Molani, Sitlali, MAVUIKA, Nahida? Surprisingly, a really good team. Only problem is if you don't one-rotate, you can't get Cinder from Molani anymore. I mean, that does sound like it would be pretty good, but meh.
Adventuring is right up my alley.
Meh, I kind of can't be bothered.
Instead of confining themselves to the heavens, God should broaden their horizons.
Anyways, yeah, this is not a team where you are trying to get a lot of damage out of Yulon. That's for sure. That is for sure. What team did you think ended up worse than I initially thought pre-release? I don't think any of them did. Some teams performed as expected, and most teams performed better than expected. There a post-release MAVUIKA video? There will be, yes. But it's not yet. I'm surprised at how good Monopyro feels. Yeah, Monopyro, it's like a relatively average Monopyro team with, like, pretty good AoE. Right? Like, in terms of damage, it's pretty average. But the AoE's really good. Which means that, like, on this chamber, that's, like, kind of cringe. It actually feels better than most other Monopyro teams. So you want to play Arlecchino and MAVUIKA and Abyss? Other than Overload, do you have any good recommendations for team building? Like, both at the same time, you mean? Ooh. No, I don't, honestly. Like, you want Bennett on both of their teams. Like, your team that isn't using Bennett is gonna be a lot worse than the other one. I guess you could do something like this. And, well, not on this Abyss, because in this Abyss, your team options are fucked. But in general, without Overload, because, like, here it would be ChesseBurgers, right? Like, that would be the best play, ChesseBurgers, channeling Official. But without that, or actually, no, sorry, wait. This. I mean, you can do any of the teams, right? You can do, like, Vape, which, I mean, you can do Monopyro, right? You've got a few options here. I've been trying Sucrose instead of Bennett and MAVUIKA, Shiloh, and Lily, and it actually works really well. Only problem with Sucrose, 8-second EM buff up time. Yeah, like, your initial hit won't be that much lower than with Bennett, but your overall damage will be a lot worse because your buff runs out very quickly. What's a good MAVUIKA team without Chilonen? Citlali. And without either of them, doesn't exist, I'm sorry. I wonder what the best non-Chilonen, or, yeah, non-Chilonen team would be. Honestly, it might actually be Double Cryo with Diona.
The hunt begins.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have C6 Diona, that's not true, though. What was the setup again? I think it was this. That's. Yeah, I fucked it up. Yeah, the Sucrose one might just be better.
Let's light it up. Rise with the everybody stand back. Lolly, eat Papa, red from the sky.
Fuck.
Light it up. Teamwork is dreamwork. Get to work. You two. Time to light up the blazing sun.
Yeah. That's the rotation. I finally got it. I wasn't sure exactly what it was again, but yeah, you get a nice, chill little 5 melt rotation with this. That's pretty good. But maybe the Sucrose one is just better. I don't know. It might be.
I want to help. Burn it, everybody stand back. Let's light it up. Absorption test. Show no mercy. Eat Lolline, eat Papa. Pyroclastic surge.
That was bad. I fucked up. Okay, I gotta take my fucking Bennett off of...
Let's light it up.
I'm gonna take my fucking Bennett off of Sack, because it's fucking my rotations, because I'm trying to swap and I'm accidentally Eing twice in a row. I wanted to just put him on the level 1 weapon, but yeah. Alright.
Going in. Stand clear. Animal test. You two. Time to end the light of the blazing sun.
I guess you want to EQ on Bennett, no QE.
Everybody stand clear. Get to work. Eat Laline, eat Papa. Get 'em. Run from the
Shit.
sky.
I fucked up.
Let's light it up.
Was there like 10 combos? Yeah, I know. I know, man.
Teamwork is strict. Absorption test. Show no mercy. Suffer the wrath. Pyroclastic surge. Incinerate.
That's the combo. That's the combo. Can you show your Seat Lolly stats? Sure. Did you consider making a dedicated combo video? That is what I had already recorded one, but I discovered a lot of other stuff after I recorded it, so I'm gonna record it again today. But yeah, we're doing that today. And I think we'll actually include a bit of rotation stuff as well. Is 186% ER recommended for Citlali? The actual amount that you need will vary on the team. But in some teams, it can be as low as, like, 140%. But it's always better to be more comfortable. And it's not like... In my experience, you're fine in terms of shielding, even with an ER sense. So I prefer using ER sense. There's a rotation of 3 CFD, 3 CF on Comp Showcase that somehow applied extra pyro on the dash. You can't figure out why it didn't work. Most likely it's because you did your first F too early, right? Because, okay. Let me open Excel. I will do exactly what I'm guessing they did, and you'll see how it doesn't work. I fucked it up. I wanted to fuck it up, but I didn't fuck it up. Actually. By accident. I accidentally did it right. How is it aggroed? What the fuck? I fucked up there. I canceled too early. I fucked up in a different way. Yeah, I needed to fuck it up the right way. Like I've muscle memoried the timing to get it properly, so it's a bit hard for me to get it improperly, which is like technically the fastest possible timing. Fuck. I accidentally did it right again.
Light it up. Everybody stand back. Let's suffer the wrath of the pyroclastic surge.
There we go.
Incinerate.
So, there, as you can see, our app got fucked, right? The reason why is because your first charge attack, right, hits at like 0, and then your second one is at like, what, 0.7-ish? 0.8-ish? Then the third one is at like 1.6-ish? Or it's more like 0.7, 1.4. And then the final hit, if you do it as early as possible, is at like 2.4. But that means, if you dash right after it, if it's 0.1 second later, and it's at 2.5, it'll apply Pyro. Because you'll have your time rule reset, right? You'll get a app, and then app, and then here you'll get app again, if it's after 2.5 seconds. And even if it's not, even if it's at 2.45, then your next C1 is gonna app at like, I don't know, 3.1-ish. But that's gonna be before your next cryo app. So you'll still lose your aura. That's what happened in my showcase. The dash was still before the 2.5 seconds, but the C1 was, the dash was still within the ICD, right?
Instead of confining themselves,
What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to do this a tiny little bit slow so that it actually hits at 2.51. That way, your time rule reset applies to the final hit, which means that your dash, right, that your final hit becomes your new time equals 0. And then your dash is at like 0.05, and then your C1 is at like 0.8, so it doesn't app. And then your C2 is what's gonna app because of hit rule, right? Basically, you want to get your time rule reset before the first final hit. If you don't get it before the first final hit, your Pyro app is gonna get front-loaded into the start of your next C3F, instead of in the middle, which is what you want. Alright, what you actually want is you want to delay it just a tiny little bit.
Stand clear. Fulfill our pact. Eat lolling, eat papa, light up the blazing sun. Incinerate.
So that you melt on the second one, and then on the final hit like that. Is there a downside to waiting a bit too long for the cryo to appear during dash, other than missing the burst for last slam? I mean, no, not other than missing the burst for last slam.
Ow.
But that's a pretty big downside. What weapon do you usually use on MAVUIKA? She's on Serpent Spine. My artifacts allow for it. I'm so glad I didn't pull from MAVUIKA, so I don't have to understand any of this shit. To be fair, you don't have to understand all of it. Any visual clues for the first finisher delay? Just wait until the third charge attack number has appeared, and don't, like, get fucking jump scared by it. Once you see it, leisurely release your charge attack.
Everybody stand back. Show no mercy. Suffer the wrath from the sky.
I will release now.
Incinerate.
Like that. You recommend pulling for Seat Lally or waiting for Farina? I have MAVUIKA and Shilonen. I mean, it depends on what you want to play, but like for MAVUIKA, Seat Lally is significantly better.
Benny's adventure team assemble.
Could you explain how MAVUIKA rotation goes? It'll depend a lot on your team, but we can talk about the default, like premium MAVUIKA team, right? There's a few things to keep in mind for your rotation, right? One, ideally you want to melt Seat Lally's stuff. Two, you really want to get a Pyrocrystallize for Shilonen. Three, you absolutely want to swap from Seat Lally to MAVUIKA when you use her burst, because you really want the
Many
TTDS.
insects have a compulsion to follow the light.
And
Humans are
four,
the same.
not all of your buffs will last for long enough to be available throughout your full your whole rotation. In my experience, I would say that the best artifacts to use on these characters is Bennett on Noblesse, Shilonen on Instructor, and Seat Lally on Cinder City. Petra is a bit better than Instructor, however, you have to pick up the crystal, and there's a lot of enemies against which the crystal just spawns inside their hitbox and you can't pick it up. Whereas Instructor is completely, like, you'll always get the Instructor proc, so I tend to like it more. But because both Petra and Instructor are relatively short duration, right? Instructor is 8 seconds, and Petra is 10 seconds. Both of them are shorter duration than Bennett, so if you are building this team optimally, you want to swap into Shilonen after Bennett, not before. However, if you're not building it optimally and you're just a lazy bozo like me, who can't be bothered swapping the Shilonen artifact set just for this team, you'd rather swap the Shilonen before, because the Cinder City and the Res Shred debuff from Shilonen, right, they both last longer than the Bennett buff. So basically, if you're gearing her specifically for this team, you swap to her after Bennett. But if you're gearing her just as with a generic build with scrolls, you swap to her before Bennett.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
And then you do Seat Lally stuff. You wait a tiny little bit after using your Seat Lally burst if you don't have high ping.
Incinerate.
Bit a little too fast there.
Bring it. Let's light it up. Fulfill our path. Laline, East Papa, get him.
You want to wait a little bit after using your Seat Lally burst, because why not Instructor and Seat Lally? Because unlike Shilonen, Seat Lally's burst is necessary to your rotation, and it's really hard to reach her ER requirements with Instructor. Cinder City helps a lot for the ER requirements, right? Because you're proccing 3 Night Soul bursts per rotation, right? That's 18 energy you're restoring for free. It's insane. Thank God I have 200% ER Instructor set. Is that even enough? It might not be. I'm not sure. It's not? Yeah. Yeah, like when I say your requirements will be rough, I really mean it. They're gonna be fucking rough. I have 230 ER instructor set and it's not enough sometimes? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, the reason why you want to wait a little bit if you have really low ping, before swapping to MAVUIKA, or at least before using her burst, is because if you do it as fast as possible with low ping, I'll show you what happens. Oops. Okay, I don't want to talk about missing my fucking Chilonan second attack, but whatever. As you can see, we end up hitting the enemy. We end up hitting the enemy with our first heart attack before Zitlali applies her off-field cryo, right? So you want to wait just a tiny little bit, or if you have high ping, you won't need to wait, right? But as long as you wait just a little bit, wait, and then burst. You can now start it as soon as you want. And you're vibing. And then you can start your next rotation.
Everybody stand back. Fulfill our path. Eat Laline, eat Papa, pyroclastic surge. Incinerate. Incinerate.
And you just keep going like this. And after your last hit from MAVUIKA's burst, I like swapping to Bennett and doing 1E. Because it helps with your ER requirements, and it helps line up the next rotation's cooldowns well, and making sure that you don't accidentally swap to your characters before their cooldowns are available. But the Bennett E isn't necessary. Am I tripping, or is MAVUIKA not doing any damage? She's on a dog shit. Yeah, she's not doing any damage. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. We need to do this, otherwise the enemy dies before the end of our first rotation. I can give you a demonstration if you'd like.
Teamwork is dreamwork. You
I
two.
fucked up.
Light of the blazing sun.
Yeah. Even then, even if I fucked up, it doesn't fucking matter. Kind of fucked. We have like dozens of local legends and not a single one of them is a good test dummy. Yeah. Usurping Spine R5? No, it's R1. Yeah, what you've seen is why we need to do this if we want to test her properly. Doing the Dole Blade. My goat. Capybara isn't bad. Meh. Capybara is not ideal either, because it can still just fucking one-shot you. And also it gets, like, knocked up by stagger, like, really easily. And sometimes it'll go so high up that it doesn't get hit by your attacks. Plunge Local Legend isn't bad. Yeah, but you have to break the shield. Like, they all have a problem. And it's all a different problem. Incinerate? Like that.
Instead of confining themselves to the heavens, God should broaden their horizons in the world below.
Does Yunjin work? No. Do not play Yunjin with this character. Jesus fucking Christ. Quick question for a secondary account. Does data IR from skill increase with talent levels? Nope. You can keep her low level. But, you do want this. Alright, so you need to get her to level 20 out of 40 to unlock this. So you don't want to keep her level 1, but you don't have to level her any higher than 20 out of 40. I think there's one good test local legend in Oshkonautland. Are you talking about the Drake? It also fucking one-shots you, though. That's the problem. And, like, that's not a bad thing for the game, but, like, if you're looking at test dummies, that's not ideal, right? A good test dummy shouldn't really be doing too much damage. Otherwise, it's not a good test dummy. You kinda have to level Dea higher if you take supportive team. I mean, it doesn't matter. Fucking slap a flower on, a level 20 flower onto her and she's fine.
Many insects have a compulsion to follow the light, and humans are the same. Except we call that light hope.
What does this song mean? It means, Dad, where are you? Where are you, Dad? Where are you? What? Whether we believe or not? Whether we believe it or not, there'll be a day where we won't have faith in it anymore. Blah, 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 blah. It's too fast to translate live. But there's also a lot of, like, alliteration that doesn't translate well, you know? Like, what would be the translation for géniteur? Géniteur in English. Yeah, like, there's no real direct translation. But, like, the closest word to it would be parent. But, like, one of the lines is des géniteurs ou des génies. Which directly, like, if you were to try to translate it directly, it's like parents or geniuses. But, like, it doesn't sound good in English, because what makes the line work is the alliteration, you know? Doesn't it just mean parent? Kind of, but not exactly. Like, it does refer to parents, but more so in the, like, physical sense. Yeah, like, it's kind of like... it's halfway between your parent and your maker, basically. It's like the person... It's like the one who conceived you, kind of. Like, that would be as good of a translation as it could get, right? Progenitor? Yeah, I guess so.
exploration and trial.
Yeah, a lot of Tomoe's songs are like that, where like,
Adventuring is right up my alley.
well, it's not just Tomoe, obviously, right? Songs that have a like focus on the poetry of the lyrics often don't tend to translate too well to other languages. Could you do a teammate / team tier list for MAVUIKA since she has a lot of options? You know what? I'm actually down to do that right now.
Instead of confining themselves to the heavens.
But let's tier maker Genshin characters. All right. So, let's put all the characters that you could like reasonably use with her. I guess she herself is gonna be in there. Sure. Well, no, there's no reason to have her in there. Let me know if you guys think I miss anyone. Can a C6 procs on normal attack hit, right? Not on normal attack cast? Just want to double check. Yeah. Alright. Saj. I don't really want to include Nilo, but whatever. Okay, who did I miss, chat? I guess we could include her as well. Rosaria? Thank you. Where is she? Is Mona, right? Oh yeah, I wanted to try to test a little bit with Mona. Where is she? I did want to test something with Mona. Wait, I'll do that now. Because when I tested with Mona, I was struggling to get consistent aura, but someone sent me footage of the aura being fine. But it might have just been because they cheated. Because Mona can cheat more Hydro App against a few enemies that are immune to stagger, which lets her burst proc later after ICD has passed and effectively cheat out more Hydro App because of it. That I'll have to do.
Let's light it up. Go ahead. Written in the stars. Breath from the sky.
Yeah. So, you can still get 4 vapes, which isn't bad, I guess. Can I send you an image of two Sims to prove Albedo should be allowed on the sheet? No, I'll include Albedo. You don't need to send me anything. But you can if you want. Four vapes plus burst with Mona buff and TTDS is... Lil bro thinks you'll be able to run TTDS on this team. How much are the ER requirements? Let's take a look.
Oh, wow. Where did that come
It's 3 or 4, right?
Benny's adventure.
But you need to be able to get it when you get 3. Caught. I guess you'll catch the particles from Bennett. And then 2.25 plus... How much is Shalona again? 4. And then 5. Clear caught. 0. And 5. And then energy. Cost. ER. Can you reach 294 ER on TTDS with Mona?
Let's go find some treasure.
Good luck.
Oh, ow. Where did that come from?
On TTDS plus instructor? You think that's gonna work? I have like 270 or something, so not impossible. Okay, 270 and 294 are not the same number.
Benny's adventure channel.
Like, Mona has ER Ascension, right? So she starts with, how much is it? Is it 130 something? Yeah, 132. Right? If you're not getting anything from your set, right? That means you need 40% ER per piece. That would be like 7 to 8 rolls of ER per piece.
Adventure in age.
Wait, no, never mind. I'm an idiot, actually. Wait. Okay, I lied. 110, so... Oops. You need 28% ER per piece. And that's to reach the minimum. That's not comfortable. That's like the minimum. For reference, okay? This is the highest amount of ER I have on a substat on all of the artifacts on my account. And you would need an average of 27.6 on all of your artifacts. Oh wait, actually no, this is the same amount actually.
Good things come to those who don't wait around. That's what they say, anyway. Knowing my luck, they are
Basically, in other words, it doesn't work. Don't even fucking bother trying to give her TDDS. Technically, you probably could give her TDDS if you give her Cinder City as well,
adventure team assemble.
because then her cost goes down to like
Or not.
42, which makes her ER requirements actually reachable. If you give her 2-piece Cinder City, 2-piece Emblem, her ER requirements will be fine. And it's better to do that with TTDS than to go for a support set with Fav. Like, that's probably the best way you can go about it.
Let's go find some treasure.
Cinder City is really that good. Cinder City is broken when you have Shilonen on the team, okay? The fact that Shilonen's skill triggers... Where the fuck does it say it? Is it here? Yeah. The fact that Shilonen triggers Night Soul Burst when she E's, that gives you one more proc of Cinder City for your team, is so fucking good for high ER requirement characters. It's such a big deal. Anyways, let's get back to this. So, obviously the S tier supports are gonna be these, right? I don't think anyone will disagree with this, right? Or I guess I should have a row above for like the actual best in slot supports. You forgot Kazuha? Kazuha's not here. Kazuha's not even the best animal unit for her teams. Anyways, in the S tier for like teams that you can make if you're missing either Shilonen or Citlali, either because they're on your other team or you don't have them, that are not that much worse. Oh wait, I don't have Kazuha at all. Shit, you're right. Okay, he should be in here. That's for sure. That's my bad. Anyways, okay, and for like the alternatives that don't make the team significantly worse, Sucrose is here. If you don't have Shilonen, or if your Bennett isn't available, she can actually replace either of them and be a pretty solid option. Diona is also missing, is she? No, she's here. Okay, but yeah, so there's Sucrose. Unironically, I think Yelan is here as well. I don't know if Farina is. She probably is. But like, just barely. Right? This as a potential replacement for either Bennett or Shilonen, and these two as potential replacements for Citlali. Kaya is probably here as well, but only at C6. Like, there's a big asterisk to this one. Then, I'm not sure about Ganyu, okay? I need some Ganyu havers to try to figure out a 5 melt rotation on her. If there is a 5 melt rotation on her, she might make it into S. Although she'd still be worse than Kaya, so maybe it'll be on A. I'll try, thank you, I appreciate that. Alright. How much ER do you need on Ganyu? Unironically, it's not even that much. Like, you do need ER, obviously. But you gotta keep in mind, right? Like, the main reason why Mona ER requirements are so rough is because, one, she can't catch her own particles. Because you have to E right before you swap off of her. Right? And two, Catalyst users really want to use CTDS if they can. There's no equivalent to that for bow users, which means that you don't really get punished for going Fav. Right? Ganyu is 60 ult. I mean, so is Mona. But, like, sure, yeah. There's also that. Right? Ganyu catches half of her own particles. And, Fav is, like, the default option for her. Also, I think... Yeah. Also, Fav Bow is lowest possible base attack for a 4-star, which means that it has more ER than Fav Codex. Anyways. I'm pretty sure there's a 5 melt Ganyu rotation on YouTube. I can try to find it. If you find it, send it to me. MAVUIKA Ganyu 5 melts. Can I find it? Five consistent melt, but that's double cryo. That's not what I'm looking for. I know you can do it with double cryo. That's not really the... Oh well. Why is Yelan above Farina? The team DPS is, like, very similar, but the Yelan teams are so much easier to play, and you don't have to deal with Farina's bullshit. That video is not double cryo, but it literally has double cryo here. This is... if it's not double cryo, why is it double cryo in the thumbnail? That's... Oh, wait, there's no MAVUIKA there. Wait, what? Oh. Seat Lolly MAVUIKA melt, Ganyu MAVUIKA melt. Okay. Okay. If you have no Seat Lolly, Ganyu is second best option. Wait a little bit before using MAVUIKA's burst and start spinning after. Okay, they're just trying to exhaust the Night Soul. Two, 3, 4. That does look like 4 melts, though. That's 3. That's 4. And not only is that not melted, but it's also not, yeah, that is not consistent 5 melt at all. This rotation is not. Maybe they get it later. But there's also the fact that there's, like, RNG involved with Ganyu's app. And it's also different against big enemies. Yeah. Let's see how they do it as a, like, proper full rotation. I believe that was... Yeah, that was 3... That was 4 melts again. But on top of that, one of the 4 melts was after burst expired. So this was also not 5 melt rotation. Have we gotten clickbaited? He's counting the burst? Ah, I see. I see. I get... Oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of... I see. Yeah, I'm getting omega baited then. Wait, what? Okay, never mind. I felt like the number was small. Like, the font was small. 2, 4... That was what, 67k on melt or uncritted, so that was probably still with it. Yeah, but this is also 4. All right. Yeah, this is definitely not. 4 is also still good. I mean, sure, but Rosaria can get 4, Kaya can get 5. Like, that's not all that impressive, you know. It's not bad, but yeah. Why can Seatlali get 5? Seatlali cannot get 5. Seatlali can only get 4. But she gives bigger buffs than other characters, which means that her 4 is about as good, if not better, than other characters' 5s. Anyways, I don't know if any of the other characters here would make it an S in my eyes. Probably not. Diona? The biggest issue with Diona is that her burst is 20-second cooldown. If her burst was 18-second cooldown, she'd definitely make it an S. But the fact that it's 20 means that her presence on the team extends your rotation a bit, which is kind of ugh. See, Lali can get 2 melts with 3 CAFD, 1 CAF. That's not gonna work. Your burst runs out after the second F in a C3F times 2 thing. I don't give a shit about melting damage that isn't burst buffed. Like when I talk about 4 or 5 melts, I'm talking about melts of charge attacks that are hitting the enemy during burst. Any damage that you do outside of burst is worthless and garbage, and I don't want to hear about it. Okay? You know about the trick for getting like 50% more fighting spirit from Shilonen alone? Are you talking about like the Shilonen E dash jump and 1 dash jump and 2? Hell yeah, dude! Insane! Oh, do you only need to dash jump once? I guess you only need to dash jump once. Oh. It's probably worth doing in some teams, actually. Because there's a lot of teams where you have a little bit of flexibility in your rotation. Like, I guess the Yulon team is one of those teams. Where you have a little bit of wiggle room.
Let's go get our.
So maybe it's worth doing.
Everybody stand back. Here comes the catch. Pyroclastic surge. Light it up.
Oh, I forgot the dash. Plus, it might get you one more hit of Yulon Burst. I like that.
Rise. Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's bust it. Things are about to get dicey. Light up the blazing sun. Burn it down. Bring it. Everybody stand back. Quiet. Game's up. Comes over. Wrath from the sky. Light it up. Going in. Gotcha.
Yeah. Seems like it might be worth doing in this team. I knew about it, but I hadn't really figured out practical ways to use it yet. So I guess thanks for reminding me of it. Yeah, it would also probably be worth doing in the Diona team.
Benny's adventure team.
The Elon team only good against bosses, no? I mean, obviously you don't have AoE Hydro App, but it doesn't really matter. Like, Farina's Hydro App in AoE is not that good to begin with. Vape teams as a whole don't tend to be the best in AoE. If you want good Hydro App in AoE, use Ayato. I said it! I said it! I said it! I said it!
Ages. Come on. Let's go.
Alright, I said it! I caught! Caught! Nick can finally use his top 1% Ayato. No, he can't, because you need to have him on a 4 emblem fully R build. So no, he can't. Oh, you also need him on Fav. Ayato also buffs normal attacks. That doesn't matter. MAVUIKA doesn't use normal attacks. 2 emblem, 2 scroll. I think 4 emblem might be better if you can reach your requirements on it, but I guess you might not be able to.
That's what they say anyway.
But like, Ayato's burst isn't even that bad for them.
The opposite is probably true for me.
Oh boy.
Benny's adventure team assemble.
All right, Quasar. Thank you for giving it a shot. I'll probably try to do some testing later with her.
Or not. Oh, wow. Where did that come from?
For Yolanda, do you give up on donuts and go normal attacks? No, you do not. I'll explain that later. Don't worry.
Let's go find some treasure.
Anyways, I think that's it for the units that I put here. Next up, the units that I put in A. Chat.
team, assemble!
Close your eyes. I think Albedo's here.
Or not.
Maybe not. I don't know, man. Maybe he's here. He's like in between here. No, he's probably here. Okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down.
The opposite is probably true for me.
Let's calm down a little. We can probably put Kazuha here for sure.
Where did that come from?
Does Singto make it in here? Maybe like just barely. Shouldn't Chiori be ranked as well then? Yeah, sure. Where is she? There she goes. You won't get a second doll, so she's about as good as Albedo.
Benny's adventure team.
If anything, she's worse than Albedo because she doesn't give any M buff.
Or not.
You have a little bit of wiggle room for your rotations anyways, because with Bennett, Citlali, MAVUIKA, you can go through your rotation in less than 18 seconds, which is MAVUIKA's burst cooldown. So you have a little bit of flexibility for like using abilities on a character, so using Albedo's burst isn't bad.
Let's go find some treasure.
And Albedo's burst actually matters here because it's a team that cares a lot about EM. I think Albedo's probably better than Chiori in her teams.
Benny's adventure team, assemble!
How much EM does Albedo's burst give? 125, I think? Kachina? So, when I talk about Albedo, right, I'm talking as, like,
Good things come to those who don't wait around.
I'm referring to Albedo in teams where you already have another Natlan character, right?
The opposite is probably
There is no upside to using Kachina in teams where you already have another Natlan character. Use her instead of the other Natlan characters if you don't have them available. And she's pretty fucking bad at it. Like, Kachina goes here, in my eyes. I should also actually have Zhongli. Just realized. I don't have Zhongli in here.
assemble!
Alright, next up, we can talk about Ganyu. I'm still not sure if you can get 5. For now, I'll assume you can only get 4. And she'd be, like, in between A and B. But if you can get 5, she'd be in between A and S. Either way, I'd probably end up putting her in A tier. The characters in D aren't ranked yet. They're not there because they're bad. They're there because I haven't ranked them yet. DJ said he got 5 mounts, really? You got a clip? Any clippers? Ugh. Said he didn't clip? Damn, that's crazy, dude. Would Chiori see one trade direct? Probably. Okay. Shenhe. Senna is just worse than Rosaria, right? I'd probably put her, like, B. Nahida, no E burst bot. That's disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Jesus Christ. How horrible. How many melts can Diona do? Diona is not supposed to be used as a solo cryo unit. She's using double cryo with Citlali. And Diona's presence allows you to get 5 melts with Citlali instead of 4. Anyways, Ayato probably goes in B as well. If you don't have the good melt options, I think that, like, in AoE scenarios, he might actually just be the best Hydro Applicator. But he's kind of bad enough in single target that he doesn't make it any higher than B, no matter, like, anyways. Barbara should also be ranked. The problem with Barbara is that you don't want to do 27 seconds rotations. So you gotta put her on sack frag, which means that she can't use TTDS, which means that she's kind of worthless. Anyways. Ayaka! Ayaka's probably in B. Like, you don't get to melt as much as other characters, but Ayaka's personal damage is higher than other characters. So, it's not as good as, like, the characters that enable, like, great melts or vapes. But it's also not bad. Kokomi probably makes it an A. The biggest issue with Kokomi is that her skill AoE is just pretty small and it can't be moved, which is really annoying. It's a similar issue to Rosaria, but Rosaria's AoE is bigger than Kokomi's. And you have a little bit more control over where it spawns. So it's like, yeah, it's alright. Auroron is probably in B tier. Just because he's a functional, like, fighting spirit generator for her in overload teams, but maybe more importantly, for her in vape teams for people who don't have, the good stuff. Or so who don't have Shalonen or Citlali. Is Pyro MC the same tier as Auron? Pyro MC is awful. Not even gonna be on the list. I can't think of a single situation where you'd rather play Pyro MC over Kachina, and Kachina's free. So I can't think of a team where you'd want Pyro MC. The Great Battery? I mean, anyways, Nilo, like, technically works, but it's really not it. AoE isn't the best. It's functional. It's alright. Pyro MC that bad? The thing about Pyro MC is that they don't really give anything to MAVUIKA. Like, if you look at this list, you'll realize that the only 2 Pyro units that are here are ChesseBurgers and Bennett. Right? It's not like you're looking for Pyro units. You're just looking for units of elements other than Pyro. And then ChesseBurgers and Bennett are so good that they can still make it into the list. You know? RMC is not. Anyways. Lila's purpose kind of just... Oh. Do you get a 5 melt setup? I'll take a look at it. Oh wait, that's Pyro MC. Ooh, ew! Ew! Why would you do this? RMC yoinked some fucking vapes already? That's not ideal. Alright, we're already losing some vapes. Did we get a single vape charge attack? Oh, we got 1 vape charge attack. Insane. Thank you, Pyro MC. See, burst almost... Yeah, but, like, that's not the only... That's not the only element that matters, you know? Like, there are other things that matter. IMO, it's better than Katrina. I mean, if this is the best thing you can do with this, it's definitely not. But maybe I could find some rotations with it. But like either way, it's not like Katrina's fucking good anyways, right? I'll do some testing with it after I'm done with the quest. But I'm not too optimistic. Probably better with Yelan, it might be, yeah. Anyways, Lila's biggest issue is that she's not enough app as solo cryo. And her default role is a shielder that isn't that bad offensively, but she is worse offensively than non-shielders, right? The thing is that in MAVUIKA teams, right, she's not enough as solo cryo, so you would need to use her in double cryo. And if you're using her in double cryo, with Bennett and MAVUIKA, that means that the last slot, if you want an Atlan support, has to be Citlali. And if you have Citlali, you already have a shield, and shields don't stack. Which means there's kind of just no situation where Lila's good. The only situation where she can be fine is if you do a no Bennett team with Shilonen double cryo. But like, don't do that, you know? And because of that, Lila's kind of ass. She stays in the D tier. It's just an unfortunate reality that she has role overlap with Citlali, but she can't actually replace her. Like, she's also a cryo shielder, but you can't replace Citlali with her. Because you won't have enough app, and you won't, yeah. And you won't have Night Soul generation. Or fighting spirit generation. Anyways, Charlotte! Wait, what did I... How many reacts did you get with her? 3? Probably stays in D tier as well, then. Like, the amount of reacts isn't that bad, but... long skill animation and, like, omega cringe ER requirements if you try to put her on TTDS. Alright, it's 80 cost burst. Wait, does she get any energy restoration here? She doesn't, right? Or am I cornge? Oh no, it does. Restores 2 energy. And how many times does that happen? 5 times? So it's a 70 cost burst, basically? But, like, that's still really fucking high. Plus you have to hold her E while you're not shielded, just fucking standing there looking like an idiot. Yeah. No thank you. Not it. ChesseBurgers! This might be a hot take, but ChesseBurgers also stays in the D tier. I really don't like the MAVUIKA ChesseBurgers teams, like, at all. They're not awful, but they're also just not good. Lanyan, when she comes out, will probably be kind of whatever. Cause default team, right? You want MAVUIKA, you want Bennett. And you want at least one Natlan character. If your Natlan character is Shilonen, Lanyan means you won't get reactions, which is not ideal. If your Natlan character is Lali, you already have a shield, which means Lanyan's defensive utility is not all that relevant. But VV, yeah, but like, why use Lanyan over Sucrose? And TDDS, Lali's giving you TDDS. You can't alter your rotation to swap from Lanyan to MAVUIKA without fucking over your reactions. That's why in the Sucrose team, you don't put Sucrose on TDDS, you put Lali on TDDS. Even if it would be more damage, if you could somehow make it work with Sucrose on TDDS and Lali on Slack Frag, or another damage weapon. You can just MAVUIKA, Shilonen, Bennett, Lanyan. Yeah, you can, but that's a non-reaction team, which are significantly worse than MAVUIKA's reaction teams, right? I'm not saying that she doesn't work. She will work, but she's mainly going to be an option as a replacement to Kazuha on the non-reaction teams for the, like, Monopyro stuff. That's her main purpose. I do think that the Monopyro teams are going to be much better than the ChesseBurgers teams. So I will probably put her in C instead of D. But they are, in my opinion, fairly significantly behind the reaction teams. But they're still good teams, so, like, it's fine. Just play them on Cryo/Hydro Infused enemy, and why is Lanyan on the team if the enemy is Cryo/Hydro Infused? You're not getting a Pyro Swirl. He's just there for the shield. Zhongli would do better. It is what it is. How is Shenhen B tier double cryo? Yeah, double cryo. How is Yelan and S? Yelan is really good with MAVUIKA. Yelan MAVUIKA is probably the most underrated MAVUIKA team right now. It's not as good as Sitlali, because, like, nothing is, but it's probably the strongest non-Sitlali team. Do you even normal attacks? You don't have to. We'll get back to it in a second. But before that, Mona. With Mona, from my testing, it seems like you're able to get 4 vapes, which isn't bad at all. However, Mona has a lot of gameplay issues, right? One, it's pretty much impossible to get enough ER to use TTDS, so you're going to be on Fav. Or, I guess more realistically, you're going to be on TTDS, but you're not going to be on, you're going to be on 2-piece Cinder City Emblem. So that you can somehow manage to reach your ER requirements. But even then, right, Mona's AoE is like so small, and unironically, taunts tend to be actively bad because they make manipulating enemy AI significantly harder. Especially when you need the enemies to not move too much. Against enemies that don't move at all, Mona would probably be, like, at the very bottom of A. But because of the amount of practical issues that she has, I think she'll be in B instead. Like, towards the bottom of B. And finally, you have Zhongli, which has a decent amount of, like, similar issues to Lanyan, right? Where the main reason to use Zhongli is if you already have managed to fulfill your reaction and cryo obligation requirement, or sorry, your reaction and your fighting spirit requirements in the rest of the team. But if you're using Bennett, that means that the only character that fulfills the cryo app and fighting spirit requirement is Sitlali, which means you already have a shielder, which means Zhongli's kind of eh. You may be able to use him in teams that don't use Bennett, and you'll be fine in there. But I think he goes in C. This is a main channel video. It's not a video. It's just prep for the combo guide. Could you do some weird rotations, weaving in normal attacks for Candace? You probably could, but I cannot be bothered, and they're really hard to do. Like, practically, the N1C rotation stuff is fucking rough, man. It really is.
What's wrong?
I can give it a shot, though. The ER. I don't have an ER sense for this, huh? Let me just get Cinder City. Hopefully this will be enough energy. It should be. Okay,
Rise, bring it. Everybody stand back. Let's do your work. Raise us this pyroclastic surge.
How, bro? Okay. I gotta do fucking N1CD spam, right? Or no, it's like it's CDN1 actually, or C1DN1. I think that's what I'm supposed to do.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's yield. Hear my prayer. Light up the blazing sun. Incinerate.
No, I can't. Fuck.
Bring it. Flee.
God. How the hell do I do this shit?
Light it up. Going in. Do your work. We shall pyroclastic surge. Bring it. Yield. Burn it. Teamwork is dreamwork. Do your work. Grant us its breath from the sky.
Oops.
Let's light it
That
up.
wasn't it. Bro, it's hard to do, man.
Yield.
It's so hard to do.
Rise. Everybody stand back. Hear my prayer. Light up the blazing sun. Let's light it up. Yeah. Do your worst.
Why didn't it start with a Hydro Aura this time? I'm actually confused.
Light it up. Going in. Bring it. Yield. We shall prevent pyroclastic surge. Flee.
This is so awful. I hate it. Whatever. I give up. Alright. Let's do our hug and exercise routine.
Many insects have a compulsion to follow the light, and humans are the same. Except we call that light hope.
Alright.
Exploration and trials. Adventuring is right up my alley.
Realistically, I should probably do N1 C3 D N1 C3, I guess. Fuck, I don't know, man.
Burn it. Bring it. Everybody stand back. Let's do your work. Hear my breath. Light up the blazing sun.
I don't know why it didn't work this time.
Flee.
I don't really understand what the fuck is happening sometimes, but I mean, it is what it is.
Rise. Teamwork is dreamwork. Yield. We shall progress from the
I hate this. It's so cringe. It's so cringe to do. Ah! I hate myself! It's fine. God. It's so unpleasant, because you have to, like... You can't start holding the charge attack too soon. Otherwise, your N1 just doesn't go through. It's so annoying, man. It's so fucking annoying. That's not...
Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's do your work. Brings us your pyroclastic surge.
Okay.
Adventure time.
It seems like it's N1, C3D, N1, C4. N1, C3D, N1, C4. That's the combo, and it worked there. It actually worked.
Going in. Let's light it. You. Hear my prayer. Light up the blazing sun.
N1? Fuck. I don't know why it didn't work there. I have no clue what I'm doing differently. Why sometimes there's an instance of pyro that's applied after MAVUIKA's burst. I have no clue why. Like, straight up no fucking idea. Because I don't have a source of off-field hydro other than Candace C6 that's supposed to apply after you normal attack. Wait! I don't know.
Everybody stand back. Let's yield. We shall progress from the sky.
Well, that was accidentally N2. N2C2. Which isn't it, but that's fine.
Going in. Let's light it up. Please, bring us your blessing. Light up the blazing sun.
Yeah. Okay. So that's doable. N1C3D, N1C4 is definitely working. Let's see if we can do it 2 times in a row.
Everybody stand back. Let's do your work. Hear my pyroclastic surge.
Fuck. Well, we got one N1 instead of a charge attack hit, but like that's not that bad, I guess. That's a bow take combo, not quite, but like it is not a fun combo to do. I'll tell you that much.
Going in. Brings us your blessing. Rest from the sky.
I fucked up.
Bring it. Please.
199 resin. It's fine, chat. It's fine.
Rise up. Everybody stand back. Let's do your work. Hear my breath. Light up the blazing sun.
Wait a second. Did I get one more charge attack there? I think I might have.
Bring it. Going in. You. Brings us your blessing. Rest from the sky.
Fuck. Okay, no, I didn't. I just still had Bennett buff. Never mind. Okay. But yeah, so this combo definitely works.
Teamwork is
No, I did get one more. So it's actually N1, N1C3D, N1C5. We get 8 still, plus 2 N1s.
Everybody stand back. Yield. Grant us your blessing. Wrath from the sky.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring it. Bleed. Burn it. Let's light it up. Teamwork is do your work. We shall light up the blazing sun.
Fuck. That was a skill issue.
Yield.
Why do we never burst with Shalona? Because there's no upside to it.
Everybody stand. Bleed. Healing prayer. Pyroclastic surge.
Yeah. Alright, we're vibing.
Yield.
So this combo is definitely doable. And we get, I think, 3 vape charge attacks. And 2 vape N1s.
Light it up. Go in. Bleed. We shall prevent light of the blazing sun.
Yeah.
Let's light it up.
Which isn't that bad. Like, it's 5 vapes, but like, it's more like 4 and 2 halved.
Your work.
4 and 2 halves. Alright, let's go spend 20 resin so you guys stop fucking molding in chat.
Witness mime.
Silence.
Why did I put Kazuha on the team? Any knowers?
The tides beckon.
Oh well. Matter. Alright. Hey, we got a purple. Very nice. Did I even go for the right one? I don't even know. I might have gone for the wrong one. Whatever, it's fine. I don't think I actually double-checked that I was doing the right one, but oh well.
Anytime.
It's fine. They're probably all gonna be useful at some point anyways. PMC, true! The solo cryo applicator on a beginner team, MAVUIKA C1, Bennett, Kachino, Rosaria, is 2CA3F or 2CA3D better?
Instead of confining themselves to the heavens, God should broaden their horizons.
I mean, obviously 2CA3F is going to be better than 2CA3D. Because you just get 2 less charge attacks if you do the second one. Are you sure you're doing the right... Are you sure you're like, writing it properly? Like, one of those 2 rotations has 2 more charge attack hits than the other. Like, obviously it's gonna be better. Anyways, But yeah, so let's just do it one more time. See if I can do it reliably enough. Yeah. Alright, no problem. And we are 100% reliable enough. So the main thing about this is, apparently, if you alt swap with Candace's burst active, no. Wait. Is it only for MAVUIKA? Surely not, right? Why is it applying pyro? I'm so confused! Oh wait, no, it's not. I'm an idiot. I'm actually just corned as fuck. MAVUIKA's initial hit is just 1U. That's why it's working. Dude, am I dumb? Chat, I think I'm dumb, dude. I think I'm actually fucking stupid. Anyways, whatever. You swap into MAVUIKA with her burst up, right? Like this. You N1 to reapply Hydro, then you charge attack until you get a vape. Then you N1 again, and then you get your vapes here. And you only need to do 1 normal attack at the start, and then 1 normal attack in the middle. And that's enough app to get 5 vapes. Because you get vape on the N1, and then that applies 1U of Hydro, which is enough for an additional 2 vapes. And then you reapply Hydro, and that's enough for the last 2 vapes. I wonder if you could get the stuff to line up better. You probably could. What if we do... What if we do 5 instead? Let's try that. We only need to do 4? I guess we only need to do 4. Okay, yeah. This is better, I'm pretty sure. N1C4, DN1C4 seems like it works. And it vapes 4 charge attacks instead of 3. Okay, yeah. That seems like the play. For sure. Which isn't that bad, actually. It's not as good as 5C2 or 4.5 C2D. But it's not that far behind, so you can get 4.5. So I guess I need to re-add the 4.5 to this thing, right? 4.5 react. Fucking weird ass character though, but I guess it works, which is nice. Like, it's not gonna be great because this is not a normal attack focus character, so Candace isn't like all that great when you're just looking at what they provide to the team, right? But it does work for the enabling at least. So I guess there's that. So I guess we need to have her here as well. But honestly, she's probably like here, and she only works at C. Oh wait, fuck, my bad. She's probably like here, and she only works at C6 anyways, so it's like meh. Anyways, let's show the Yolande thing again.
It's time to pull the.
Because there were a few people that were curious. This is their Yolande rotation.
Let's light it up. Quiet now. Here comes the catch. Light up the blazing sun. Burn it down. Teamwork is dreamwork. Game's up. Fun's over. Pyroclastic surge.
I guess technically you'd want to do like this.
Bring it. Going in. Let's light it up. Bust it.
Because you have a little bit of wiggle room in your rotation anyways.
Burn it down. Everybody stand back. Here comes the catch. Wrath from the sky.
Okay, we fucked up that setup because
Quiet.
does need stamina to dash cancel. Nope.
Rise. Teamwork is dreamwork. Game's up. Fun's over. Light up the blazing sun. Light it up. Going in. Here comes the catch.
Oopsie daisy.
Pyroclastic
My E
surge.
didn't hit.
Bring it.
But yeah, this is a very nice rotation. I really like it. Why jump on Chalonen? If you dash jump, right? If you just jump on Chalonen, it doesn't really do anything. But if you dash jump, you consume like a lot of Night Soul points. And it's actually enough. Right, because by default, you just do 2 attacks. Which means that you only consume about 90.
Bring it.
But if you do this, it lets you do 3 attacks. Which means you effectively consume like 120-ish instead of 90. Which gives you more fighting spirit. Which matters in this team because we don't have enough to max it out with only 1 Chalonen E. But we still don't want to do longer rotations. And then on top of that, we also have that like 1-ish second of wiggle room. As you can see, right, when I was doing the rotation as fast as possible,
Teamwork is dreamwork. Quiet. These are about to get done. Light up the blazing sun. Let's light it up. Rise with the sun. Everybody stand back.
I swap the Elan, and I have about 1 second of wiggle room before her burst is back. So we do it in like 17 seconds. And so what that means is that we have the 1-ish second to spare to do the Shilonen additional Night Soul generation trick.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Quiet. Here comes the catch. Wrath from the sky. Let's light it up. Burn it down.
Oops.
Going in. Gotcha. Game's up. Pyroclastic surge. Light it up. Let's light it up.
Why is Zox live? Is that Bozo actually live? Why is he live? Ain't no fucking way. Okay, whatever. Okay. Anyways, chat. I think the dash triggering normal attacks intended. What do you mean? The dash isn't triggering normal attacks. The beginning of the charge attack is. Anyways. I think it's time to start recording though. For the combo video. So let me put a stream marker down. Also, since I put the stream marker, editors are going to see this part. Ideally, I want this video to be a little bit more, like, organized. And I'm probably going to want a decent amount of, like, visual support when I'm explaining stuff. So if you can, like, visually represent the ICD stuff, that would help a lot. If you can have, like, something like a hit counter and a timer on screen when I'm, like, showcasing this stuff, where, like, it keeps count of both the time rule and the hit rule, so that it's easier to explain what's going on.
Insects have a compulsion to follow the light.
And it's easier for viewers to, like,
Except we call them
properly understand it as well. That would be very helpful. Anyways, say hi to YouTube chat. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. Hi to a MAVUIKA combos video. Now, I've seen a few videos on MAVUIKA already, but there's a bunch of stuff that I want to add. There's a bunch of nuance to her combos, a lot of different ways you can end up playing her, and a lot of different characters that interact differently with her kit. And so what I want to do is I want to go through a lot of those different characters and how and why they work or they don't work with MAVUIKA, as well as some tips to increase your damage for the teams where you use those characters by doing the optimal combos for each. For most of this video, I'll be using low-level bonus greatsword, dual blade on Bennett, without the 4-piece obsidian on MAVUIKA. Just because it'll be a lot easier to properly show rotations if the enemies aren't dying to the burst initial hit. So, first thing that we need to get out of the way before we get into all of the combo stuff is how we're going to refer to combos. Or basically the combo notation. It's pretty straightforward, but there's a few things to remember, so I wanna get this out of the way at the start. When you're in your bike form, you effectively have 4 different things you can do. You can do normal attacks, you can do charge attacks, you can do dashes, and you can do the final hit of the charge attack. There are technically other things you can do, like a fucking plunge attack, but they're worthless and you shouldn't pay attention to them. Technically, you can also jump. That's true. So that's 5 things. You're going to see 5 different letters in the combo notation, right? N for normal attacks, C for charge attacks, F for the final hit of the charge attack. That's for the, like, hits. And then you also have D and J for dash and jump. As a general rule, if you see a letter followed by a number, it means that you do the combo of that letter that many times. So for example, if you do N2, that would be 1, 2. And if the number is before the letter instead of after, it means that you do that thing that amount of time. So 2N2 would be N2, N2. And if there's any, like, ambiguity because there's letters followed by numbers, followed by letters, followed by numbers, there's going to be spaces that you know the so that you know if the number is associated with the first letter or the next one.
Adventuring is right up my alley.
So let's start by just looking at what happens if you're just doing the default MAVUIKA combos, right? The default MAVUIKA combo is going to be 2N5 and 1. For the normal attack combo. Right, you just...
No more mistakes.
You just spawn normal attacks, and your burst expires right after you do your 3rd instance of the first normal attack. So that's the default normal attack combo. The default charge attack combo is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we got 9 because we're against a boss enemy that has a big hitbox. Let's stay a little bit further away so we can show the default one. Sorry about that. Editor's cut. Yeah, so you get 8 hits while the burst is still active, and then you get a final hit at the end after the burst expires. So that would be referred to as C8F. That's a default charge attack combo. Against large enemies, or if you manage to stick close enough to them, you can potentially get an additional hit from the burst. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into F, right? So that would be C9F. Those are the default combos without any sort of cancels. And looking at those default combos, the normal attack combo fucking sucks, and the charge attack combo is pretty good. Charge attack combo is like significantly better than the normal attack combo, and so outside of a very, very few exceptions, you generally just ignore the normal attacks altogether. So, how exactly does how exactly do these combos translate to reactions? Let's take a look with Rain on the team.
Hear the echoes of the valley. Light up the blazing sun.
You vape on the first one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and the eighth one. And then you also get a vape on the final hit. If you end up getting the, like, quote-unquote, lucky additional 9th hit, that 9th hit will vape as well, but in exchange for that, the final hit at the end will not vape. Out of all of the reasonable MAVUIKA combos, in my experience, I haven't found a single combo that vapes more than 5 of her attacks. There's probably some weird, garbage, normal attack weaving combos that can vape like 6, but you're going to be vaping less damage because the normal attacks are so much worse than the charge attacks.
The opposite is probably true for me.
With all that being said, this is just what you can get out of the default combos with no cancels. However, cancels make MAVUIKA much, much better. First, let's take a look at vape teams. Her vape teams are not her strongest teams. Citlali generally does tend to be her best teammate. But the cancels in vape teams are a lot more straightforward, so I figured we'll start with them. If you're not interested in the vape teams, you can use the timestamps to jump to the melt setups. Anyways, when it comes to vape teams, you have ways of increasing your damage. Right? So first of all, like I already said, unless you manage to stay really, really close to an enemy with a relatively large hitbox, you'll only get 8 charge attack hits instead of 9. Right? And then you'll get your final hit if you don't swap out before it happens. But the thing is, that final hit barely does any damage because the burst isn't active anymore. However, the reason why your final hit happens after the burst has expired, or rather, the final hit happens right after the burst expires. You can see whether or not the burst is active by the color of her Night Soul bar. Right, so if you pay attention to the color, right now it's like white-ish. And as you can see, it expires right now, right? In the middle of the animation for the 9th hit. If you had a way of getting the 9th hit faster, you could potentially get a 9th hit, or if you had a way of getting a different attack other than the final hit in that time window, because the final hit is much slower than the other attacks, you could potentially get a 9 hit without relying on enemy hitbox before your burst expires. And that's where cancels start coming into play. When MAVUIKA is in her motorcycle form and she dashes, it takes a bunch of Nightsoul. However, during her burst, Nightsoul generation is paused, which means you can dash as much as you want and it's not gonna cost you any Nightsoul and it's not gonna mess with your duration. Because dashes are the fastest ways of doing cancels, that is very relevant. So, if we just add a dash right after a hit at any point, we end up with a 9th hit of the motorcycle before the burst expires, and because we dash, our spin duration is reset, so we don't get the final hit, right? So effectively what ends up happening is you get one more hit of the burst buffed cyclic damage instead of the final hit. And as it turns out, the burst buff is really, really big, so that leads to a lot more damage. And what that means is that in vape teams, your best default combo is going to be one where you dash at least once. You end up getting a total of 9 burst buffed hits, 5 of which are vaped. That's the first, I guess, layer of cancels in her vape teams. However, as you may be aware if you've looked at her kit or have played her, MAVUIKA's dash during her skill actually deals damage. What that means is that if you can fit in more dashes without losing charge attacks, it's effectively just free damage. However, and this is very important, her dash and her charge attack share internal cooldown. What that means is if you dash at the wrong moment, your dash will vape and it's going to yoink one of your vapes from your charge attack. You don't want that at all. The best combo that weaves in as many dashes as possible without yoinking vapes on charge attacks is C2 dash spam. Kind of fucked it up there because I hate using Farina, man. we'll get into that later, but. And just like that, I ended up getting 9 charge attack hits, 5 of which were vaped, and 4 dash hits before the burst duration expired. And that is your best combo for vape teams. And as it turns out,
Who's our target?
when MAVUIKA inputs her charge attack, while in her bike form, it procs the on-normal attack effects of Yelan and Tsingtao. And since you have to re-input a new charge attack every time you dash cancel, that effectively means that Yelan and Tsingto function as off-field hydro applicators for MAVUIKA. So let's show that in practice.
Right, bring it. Everybody stand back. Busted. Things are about to get dicey. Light up the blazing sun.
And we, again, got 9. Nine charge attack hits, 5 of which were vaped, 4 dashes, and Yelan made it work. With Tsingto, the orbitals are kind of enough by themselves, but we'll get into all the specific characters you can use a little bit later. But as a general rule, when it comes to application, if Yelan is enough hydro, Tsingto is always going to be enough hydro. Anyways, what that means is that when it comes to vape teams, your best combo in pretty much all the vape teams is gonna be C2D spam, right? And what the notation for the full rotation would be, or for the full combo would be, is after your burst, 4 C2D, and then C. And you don't really want to keep spinning after your last charge attack hit. And so, if you look at a full rotation,
Dream work. Quiet. Game's up. Fun is over. Plastic surge.
3, 4, 5, and then immediately swap out and get ready for your next rotation.
Here comes the catch.
And then you keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Light it up. Bring it. Teamwork is dreamwork. Gotcha. Game's up.
And you keep going like this.
No more mistakes.
Obviously, I don't want to kill him, but I guess it doesn't matter because it respawns instantly now, but that's how you do your combos. There are a few little nuances to the rotations outside of the MAVUIKA combo itself, but we'll keep that for later. For now, let's take a look at combos with other characters. So the next thing I want to talk about is going to be the melt setups. And when it comes to melt setups, things get a little bit more tricky. The reason for that is because when you apply pyro onto a hydro aura, assuming both are the same amount, you will only reduce the hydro aura, you won't completely remove it. You'll need 2 applications of pyro for each 1 application of hydro. In other words, it's generally easy to apply enough hydro to melt, or sorry, to vape all of your reactable hits on your pyro carries. However, when you're triggering melt, it's the other way around. It's if you have a pyro aura on enemy, the cryo won't necessarily remove it. You need 2 apps of cryo to remove 1 app of pyro. Conversely, is that a word? I think so. I'm not sure. On the other hand, 1 app of pyro will always be enough to remove whatever cryo you have on enemies, unless it's like a big ass elemental shield. What that means is that you need to make sure you're applying cryo in between every single one of your pyro applications. And that's where things can get tricky. Because the cryo applicators that we have are honestly generally not that fast at applying cryo. And so, you will often need to intentionally reduce the amount of hits you're doing to try to make your reactions line up better. Let me show an example of that, right? So if you do the very, very default rotation with Citlali, you immediately lose your aura, right? If you have low ping and you try to use Citlali and you don't do any adjusting, you just use your abilities as fast as you can, you won't melt a single charge attack hit. Obviously, that's not good. You want to melt them because melting Citlali instead is awful. Citlali is not a character that wants to melt. She can melt on the initial hit, that's nice. But she definitely does not like melting the off-field application because it does basically no damage. So, how do you deal with that? Well, the first step is understanding why we're not getting any melts when we do this setup. The reason is that the first off-field cryo application that happens after MAVUIKA's burst animation from Citlali is actually a little bit slower to hit the enemy than the first hit of MAVUIKA's charge attack. So all you have to do is delay it by a tiny little bit. If you have ping higher than like 80 or something, I'm not sure exactly how much, but I think 80 plus-ish, maybe 100 plus, this like wait period is effectively going to happen without you even trying to do it.
Adventuring is
With low ping, all you have to do is you just wait a tiny bit and then you are pulled. But we still have a problem. We still end up losing our melts halfway through.
Show no mercy. Suffer the wrath of me.
So how do you fix that? Well, you have a few options. The first one is to just also wait a little bit after you use MAVUIKA's burst. Let's try to show it.
Dream work. Let's fulfill our path. Lolling, eat Papa, light of the blazing sun.
There we go. And just like that, you can end up getting 4 melts. This is like the extent of what you need to know in order to be able to properly play these teams. Anything past this is ways to make doing this easier and more comfortable, not things that are actually necessary to know. But they are still important in my eyes. So, first, right, what's the biggest issue with something like this? Well, you don't have any good visual indicators on screen of when to start your charge attack. You kind of have to go at it by vibes, and it's really easy to mess up. So, what's the first, I guess, tip or the first way of making this easier to do? The first one is to just add a jump.
Get to work. Lolling, eat Papa, pyroclastic surge.
You add a jump to your, like, while waiting for your stuff.
Bring it.
If you add a jump right after MAVUIKA's burst, it can line the things up for you. However, there's still also a little bit of waiting involved here, and if you just jump and then immediately go into the charge attack, it'll still be a little bit too fast. And so, personally, I tend to prefer the jump setup when... Oh, fuck. I gotta reset this. Personally, I tend to prefer the jump setup when you jump after the 4th hit instead of at the start. If you jump after the 4th hit, you can just wait until the enemy gets cryo again. And it tends to be a lot easier to do in practice. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is what what I thought to be the best combo for melt teams in pre-release. However, it does go further than that. One thing you may have noticed is, well, obviously, the jump here is effectively just a waste of time. You jump because you don't have anything else to do, and you're waiting for your application to line up. In other words, if you had an attack that was slower but stronger, you'd rather use that.
Themselves to the heavens. God should broaden their horizons in the world below.
And we talked about an attack that is slower but stronger earlier. And that's the final hit of the charge attack. And so let me show you what the actual optimal melt combo is. Also, fucking call this.
Show no mercy.
Overworld Seat Lolly can be a bit annoying because sometimes you end up with a little bit of Night Soul at the start of your rotation. And that means that she starts applying cryo before the burst instead of after, and that can be cringe. Anyways, we fix that. Now we're ready to go. So. Let's show the actual best combo.
Suffer the wrath of evil and wrath from the sky. Incinerate. Let's light it up.
As it turns out, you can end up doing effectively half a charge attack, right? Instead of doing 8 hits into final hit, you do 3 hits into final hit, and you input that by holding for 3 hits and then releasing after the 3rd hit. And then doing the same thing again. God, Seat Lolly's being annoying again. God damn it.
Get to work.
This is the auto melt combo because you end up getting the same amount of charge attack hits that are burst buffed, except 2 of them, which on top of that are 2 of the ones that are getting reacted, are final hits instead of cyclic hits, which are around 70% more motion value each. Now, is it necessary to do any of this? Honestly, no. The default combos for Vape, giving you 8 hits of charge attack, versus what you get if you do the N2, or sorry, C2, 4C2D C combo, The difference is there, and it's gonna be noticeable, but very often enemies don't die in a full rotation. They die in like either 2/3 of a rotation or 1 rotation and a half or whatever. And when that happens, it's very possible that your, 10-20% higher DPS doesn't actually translate to a significantly faster clear. But a lot of people still want to know what the optimal way to play characters are, so I still think a video like this is worth making. Anyways, getting back to the final hit combo that we showed, which would be noted C3F, D, C3F. Although, you don't necessarily need to
Humans are the same. Except we
do the dash. The dash is just additional free damage that there's no reason not to do. The reason why that combo is good, and the reason why it works out, is because... Or actually, wait. You do have to be careful about one thing in this combo. Or I guess 2 things in this combo. Right, there's 2 potential ways that this can go wrong. One, you can end up doing your cancels too slow, or waiting a bit too much at the start. And if you do, then your last final hit will not be burst buffed. However, if that happens, it's not that big of a deal, because it's still about as much damage as if you were doing the default 8-hit 4 melts combos with the jump cancel. It's still about as much damage as that, even if you do your things a bit slow and you end up losing out on your burst buff on the final hit. It's not the end of the world. The second way you can fuck it up, though, matters a lot more. And that's if you do your combo too well. So, and this is where internal cooldown visualization is going to help a lot. The way that standard internal cooldown works is there's a hit rule and there's a time rule. Both of those rules dictate when your attacks will be able to apply an element. The first attack on an enemy will apply their element. After that, it goes on a pseudo cooldown, both a time cooldown and a hit cooldown. After your first hit has applied an element, the second and third hit will not, and then the fourth one will. Right? That's the 3-hit rule for standard ICD.
Is right up my alley.
But it's not the only rule. There's also the time rule, which is 2.5 seconds. After 2.5 seconds, everything gets reset. It goes back to as if you were attacking the enemy for the first time. So your next attack will apply the element. But when I say everything gets reset, that also includes the hit rule, which means if you manage to get 4 hits against an enemy in less than 2.5 seconds, let's say in 2.4 seconds, you'll get a reaction on the first hit, and then nothing on the second, nothing on the third, a reaction on the fourth hit, and then the time rule reset happens, and then the 5th hit gets a reaction again. And then 6th doesn't, 7th doesn't, 8th does. That's why the default reaction mapping for MAVUIKA's charge attack is reactions on hits 1, 4, 5, and 8. It's because the time rule reset happens after the 4th hit. When you do the final hit combo, you do not want the time rule reset to happen after your first final hit. Because if it does, it means that your dash can apply pyro, and your first charge attack can apply pyro on the second C3. The problem is, the cryo from Citlali happens around the timing of the first charge attack of the second combo. Sometimes even a little bit after. In other words, in a perfect world, you'd want to react the second attack of that combo. And as it turns out, that is what will happen if you get the time roll reset before the first final hit. Because you get the time roll reset, then final hit is the first hit, then dash is the second hit, then the first hit of charge attack is the third hit, and then the second hit of charge attack is the fourth hit. So the second hit of the second charge attack is what's going to apply the element. Right? That's what I got when I was showcasing it earlier. Let's show it again.
Everybody stand back. Show no mercy. Eat lolling, eat papa. Pyroclastic surge.
Right? We get the melt on the second hit of the charge attack. So what happens if you get the final hit before the time roll reset? And that is actually possible. If you stop holding your charge attack as early as you can after the third hit, the final hit will end up happening a tiny little bit before the 2.5 second time roll reset. And let me show you what happens when you do that.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's fulfill our path. Suffer the wrath of the light of the blazing sun. Incinerate.
We lose our melts.
Bring it.
Now, as much as this is the way to fuck things up that punishes you the most, it's also really easy to avoid. Just don't be too sweaty when canceling your, or when doing the final hit of the charge attack, and wait until you've actually properly seen the third hit's damage instance. If you have any amount of ping, damage hit numbers get delayed a little bit, and so it'll be even easier for you to do. It's actually kind of crazy how MAVUIKA's a character that kind of gets buffed by higher ping. She doesn't actually get buffed, but a lot of her setups become easier to do with higher ping. It is quite funny. But yeah, these are the default melt setups. Now, that doesn't mean that they are the only melt setups that you should think of, right? The main reason for that is because not every cryo unit works like Citlali. There are cryo units that can only enable you to melt at the start. With those cryo units, what you'd want to do is you'd want to do something a lot closer to what you do in vape teams. Because you get more motion value in total, and you're not going to react to the later half of your charge attacks no matter what. When you're looking at something like Ayaka as a support for MAVUIKA, for example, you're better off doing the default vape combos than the melt combos. And the alternative to that is what's going to happen when you have enough cryo to do some other specific combos, or to melt upwards of 5 hits instead of 4. And that is what happens with Kea. Now, a few caveats to this, okay? These combos are only doable on really low ping. Because Kea's burst duration is just barely enough to apply cryo after MAVUIKA's 4th melt in these setups. In other words, if you have a little bit of ping and your charge attack gets delayed by a little bit, Kea's last cryo application will happen before the 4th hit, not after the 4th hit, so you won't have cryo application for the 5th hit. Second caveat to this, Kaya's application kind of has RNG involved. The way that his burst works is really weird, where like it's not actually something that's rotating. It does some weird bullshit checks for like whether or not the enemy's in range of it.
Exploration
And
travels.
that leads to very inconsistent
Right up my alley.
results when it comes to the application at the very, very start. Now, the application at the very, very start is a pretty big deal because if you want to be able to get your 4th hit before the last cryo application of Kaya, not your 4th hit, but your 4th melt before the last application of Kaya, you cannot afford to wait around a tiny little bit on MAVUIKA after her burst. You have to go as soon as possible. But if going as soon as possible means you apply Pyro before Kaya's cryo, you just don't melt at all. C6 Kaya makes that significantly more consistent because of his higher amount of hits in total. I have tested with C0 Kaya, and I have been able to do 5 melt combos. However, I have not been able to do them very consistently. So I don't think this is something that is all that relevant if you don't have C6 Kaya.
Instead of
In any
controlling
case,
themselves,
let me show what the combo looks like.
God should
Freeze. This moment will be
Wait, I fucked up. I forgot you have to do it differently. That's on me though. Alright, so
Everybody stand back.
so sorry.
Crash from the sky.
this is the combo. Right? Now, unlike the vape combos, it's not just a matter of getting your 9th hit before the burst duration is over. It's also a matter of getting your 7th hit, which is going to be your 4th melt, before Kaya's burst is over, which is a time window that is actually shorter. You have less wiggle room. And what that means is that the slightly slower hits when you add dashes kind of fuck you over. And because of that, instead of doing C2D spam, I found it to be a lot more consistent to instead do C2D, C3D, C4. That has been by far the most consistent setup I've been able to do. And I have not been able to consistently replicate it with C2D spam. It might just be a skill issue, honestly, but this is definitely the setup I'd recommend, which is C2D, C3D, C4. Let me show it again.
Rise with teamwork and streamwork. Let's bring it.
Freeze. Don't get frostbite.
Pyroclastic surge.
Oh, we fucked up there. Even when I say consistently, it's still not even that consistent. Aware.
Burn it. Going in.
Dodge this. Oh, so sorry.
Crash from the sky. Let's light
I don't
it
want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Shut up.
Rise, everybody stand back.
This moment will be frozen.
Light up the blazing sun.
dying of cringe. I got it on the first try. Why am I not able to get it now, man? Fuck off.
Freeze! Don't get frostbite.
Wrath from the sky.
There we go. There we go. So N2C, or sorry, C2D, C2D, or C2D, C3D, C4. And honestly, that's pretty much it for the optimal MAVUIKA combos. There are a few combos that that you may need to do slightly differently based on the team you're using, but these are the main ones. However, combos aren't the only thing that matters for MAVUIKA. If anything, combos tend to matter a bit less than proper rotations. And so I wanted to maybe not go into too much detail about the rotations, but at least just enough so that you guys can properly play the teams you want.
Come on, let's go.
So, the most important thing for pretty much all of the MAVUIKA teams is making sure that you're reacting on your burst initial hit, and that you're starting your charge attack while there is still aura on the enemy, so you don't start with a pyro aura.
Where did that come from?
And depending on the characters you're using on your team, that can potentially be easier or harder. So for example, because we already have Kaya out, let's take a look at what can go wrong in your setup with Kaya. So, here, I'm going to do a slightly slower setup here. Oh no! I didn't melt my burst and I'm starting without cryo. This is very bad. We don't want this to happen. No, no, no. Bad things. No. Don't like. No, no, no. This is awful. The reason for that is because of MAVUIKA's E. Now, you can decide to like hold your E and then try to spend all your like stamina, all your nice points like that. But I would pretty much almost never recommend doing that when there are setups that allow you to just use your off-field E and still start with proper auras, right? The reason why the slow setup didn't work for Kaya is because MAVUIKA's E hit between Kaya's E and his burst. All you need to do is make sure that you E on Kaya right after the E hit from MAVUIKA. That happens by default if you're using Bennett burst E, Shilon, and E, Kaya, E-Q. But if you have like really high ping or something, and your stuff is slower, all you have to do is just wait until the third hit like this. I fucked it up. That was a skill issue. Sorry about that. Right? You just wait until the hit and you do it now, right? And you won't have too much of a problem. Anyway. With Sitlali. Sitlali's burst initial hit is 2U cryo, so it'll wipe your pyro aura. And then the spirit skulls or thingies that get dropped by her burst have separate ICDs, so they'll apply cryo. And generally that'll happen, those two apps will happen right one after the other. So as long as your MAVUIKA E isn't hitting right after Sitlali's burst, you'll pretty much be fine without having to think much about it. if you wait too long, you'll end up losing your reactions. So don't wait too long.
Bring it. Witness mime.
With Farina, it's generally not going to be too much of a problem, but her app isn't consistent, so when it is a problem, it's kind of hard to explain why. You just got unlucky, I guess.
Let's go get ourselves.
But yeah. Also with Citlali, if you have really high ping, you can add an N1 after your Q to try to make it more consistent. With Yelan. You'll generally be able to do it without much of a problem.
Teamwork is busted.
As long as you weave a normal attack before your MAVUIKA burst.
Bring it. Gotcha.
However, let's get into the characters where it's a little bit harder to get your application reliably. So, first is Rosaria.
We're done.
If you do a Rosaria setup the same way you do a Citlali setup, here's what happens.
Rise, go in. Let's light it up. Shiver. You can't run. Wrath from the sky. Incinerate.
I guess, wait, I got it.
Incinerate.
Oh, wait.
Judgment.
Usually I don't get it when I do this. What the heck happened? I guess... Oh, I know why. Right.
Burning. Everybody stand back. Punishment. Yeah. Light up the blazing sun.
No, it worked. Here we're not getting the cryo up because he's standing outside of her burst, but... Oh yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. Anyway, if I try to do the Rosaria setup the same way I do a Citlali setup,
Go in. Judgment. Shiver. Wrath from the sky.
okay. I swear things were going wrong a little more often yesterday. Fucking hell.
Light it up. Everybody stand back. Let judgment. Punishment.
There we go. Yeah. But if you try to do it normally, like with the same setup-ish that you do with Citlali,
Bring it.
it's really easy for things to go wrong. And you're apt to kind of get a little fucked.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Judgment. Shiver. You can't run.
Because the default setup for Citlali teams tends to be MAVUIKA into Shalonen into Bennett into Citlali.
Go in. Let's light it
And
up.
if you do this,
Punishment.
you start with a Pyro Aura. This is what happens at pretty low ping, and I'll try to do my swaps a little bit slowly to simulate higher ping.
Bring it. Teamwork is dreamwork. You can't run. Lights out.
Even worse.
Let's light it up.
And you can end up having some pretty big issues. Does that mean there are no ways of dealing with it? No. The main reason why that can end up happening is that with your default setup, it's real the window to get your MAVUIKA E to hit before your cryo up from Rosaria, so you actually have time to properly apply cryo before it re-hits in the middle of her animations, is pretty tight.
Benny's adventure team, assemble!
And so one of the things you can do is you can skip Bennett's E animation to gain that time back effectively. That's like the first thing you can do.
Light it up, bring it! Teamwork is true, yeah! Shiver! Light up the blazing sun!
I got the initial hit there, but yeah, I didn't get the rest. I would have had to wait a little bit if I wanted to get the rest. And that brings us to the second thing you can do. You can burst E instead of E burst on Rosaria. If you E into burst, you get 2 apps from the E, 2 apps from the burst, and then 2 seconds later, another app from the burst. If you burst E instead, you get 2 apps from the burst, 2 apps from the E, and then 2 seconds after the burst, not after the E, you get your next app. So it effectively happens faster.
Burn it, bring it! Everybody stand back! Lights out! Pyroclastic surge!
He keeps just walking out of Rosaria burst, so we can't do a full melt combo. But that's just because it's walking out of Rosaria burst, which is the biggest issue with Rosaria, but won't always be a problem. Let's go against an enemy that doesn't walk out of her burst, so we can show a full combo. Yeah. Now skipping the Bennett E is something that may be necessary for your setup if you're playing on high ping, but you can avoid having to do if you're playing on low ping, so the ER requirements on high ping tend to be a bit more rough. But in any case,
Light it up! Shiver! Judgment! Wrath from the
against an enemy that doesn't move,
incinerate!
we can get our full combo properly.
You can't run!
Sand is the natural enemy of fire and civilization. In the desert, ruins are all that remain to tell the story of the past.
On top of that, if I remember correctly,
Burn it down! Everybody stand back! Let's... Punishment! Pyroclastic surge!
oh, I'm an idiot.
Bring it! Judgment!
Alright. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to say for the Rosaria setups. One more thing to keep in mind, and that's something that applies to the Kaya setups as well. The setups tend to be easier if you do Bennett into Shilonen than Shilonen into Bennett, because Bennett's E and Q both apply 2 units of Pyro, which requires up to 4 instances of Cryo to remove. Generally, is going to be 3 because some of it decays over time. By the time your 4th one happens, generally that remaining leftover has decayed anyways. So generally, it's 3 applications of Cryo that you need. But Chilonen's Crystallize can substitute an application of Cryo. So the setups will tend to be a little bit easier if you Bennett into Shilonen. The next setups I want to talk about is the double cryo setups with Sitlali. I think we'll be using mostly Diona because she's pretty much the slowest cryo applicator. And with Sitlali, you can actually end up doing the 5 melt combos. When you're playing double cryo. With pretty much every cryo unit. fucking awful. Let me... I fucked that up so bad. I forgot that I was trying to show the 5-mouth combo, so I did a finisher like an idiot. Anyways. Just like that, doing the same combo as the default Kaya setup. We can get 5 melts on this team. And this also works on most of the other cryo teams. Biggest potential obstacle is... I guess biggest, most important thing to remember for these setups is swap to your non-Seat Lally cryo unit before you swap to Bennett. Snapshotting them is cool and all, but your Bennett burst's gonna expire before, and a lot earlier, if you use Bennett before, like, Rosaria, which has relatively long animations. And it's gonna lead to you just losing Bennett buff on a lot of your damage on MAVUIKA, and that tends to matter more than the Bennett buff on that cryo unit. That's part of why I like Diona in this slot a lot, because Diona doesn't do damage to begin with. Her biggest upside is the EM buff that she provides. And so she doesn't lose anything from not being able to snapshot Bennett. And then I guess probably the last setup I want to talk about is the Candace setup. Candace, unlike... And this is a setup only for Candace C6. Obviously, non-C6 Candace doesn't have a way to apply off-field Hydro without you swapping. But C6 Candace does. However, unlike Singso and Yelan, it doesn't proc when you use a normal attack, it procs when you hit an enemy with a normal attack. What that means is that it doesn't work with MAVUIKA's charge attack. You have to actually do normal attacks. However, that doesn't mean there's no combos to make it work, because you don't need to proc it often. You only actually need to proc it twice. So, let me show you what the rotation is supposed to look like. And just like that, we end up getting 4 vapes on the charge attacks, 1 vape on a normal attack, a total of 8 charge attacks, and 2 normal attacks. All of that burst buffed, which is actually pretty good. In terms of just the damage from MAVUIKA without looking at external buffs, it's pretty similar to the other vape setups. But obviously Candace herself doesn't really provide anything, because that normal attack buff is kind of whatever. But still, this is another team where you can use Candace as off-field Hydro application. One thing I will say though is that doing normal attack into charge attack is harder than it sounds, because you have to start holding late enough that you won't skip the normal attack, but early enough that you won't accidentally do an N2. And when you're also concentrating on like not getting hit and stuff like that, it can be a bit of a pain.
Where did that come from?
In any case, that is going to do it for the combo video. I hope you learned a thing or two. I hope the combos will help you improve your gameplay. I'm enjoying MAVUIKA a lot. All the combo stuff is really fun for me. So I hope you're enjoying it as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, YouTube. And now, is it time to quest? Or should we just quest tomorrow? Because it is kind of late already. What do you guys prefer? Do it now as soon as possible, or massive, big, pog birthday stream Archon quest tomorrow? Are we back to 200? Oh yeah, okay, cool. I think I'll do it tomorrow. But today, stare, pound, zilch. I'm like sure this word is like this with the R and C somewhere in these. Maybe not. Creek, perhaps? No. Cyber, probably. And we got it in fire. That's not good. Oh well. What verb or adjective is confusingly? Noun. That's funny. On the house. One holding a deed. Large in scope, as a photography lens. They're rolled in annoyance. Eyes. You've got to be kidding. No way. Unit equal to roughly 28 grams. Ounce. App customers. Users. Infamous Roman Emperor. I forbore. Where the heart is. The heart is in the... I don't know. Owner. Narrow. Macro? Someone! Let's go! Easy clap. This is pretty good. No way! I'm no waying, dude. That's crazy. Okay, chat, I think we're officially going to bench the connections today. Connections is dead to me. Instead, we're adding the Genshin Redact. Okay. Okay. This is probably a Mondstadt character, but 7 is a very small amount. So it, Maybe it's like since moving to Mondstadt, maybe it's Mona? Fuck. Could also be Toma. Okay. Are there any other characters that are like Mondstadt related, but not necessarily always in Mondstadt? Can't think of any. Let's guess elements then. Actually, no. Lisa went to the Sumeru Academia. Let's go! 6 guesses is really good. 6 guesses is really good. Return to Mondstadt, yeah. Dude, that's crazy, man. Dude, that was a good thought process, though, wasn't it? Like, the since blank to Mondstadt indicated that it was a character that was related to Mondstadt, but also related to some other regions in some way. So it pretty much boils it down to like Mona, Toma, Lisa, Kole. But it's also not related to Leah or Inazuma. I guess it couldn't have been Toma. Fuck. Okay, Toma was a wasted guess. Varka real? I don't think it could be Varka. What's that? Yeah, what percentile are we actually? Pretty good. The average is 26 guesses and we took 6. That's wild, dude! That's wild! Insane. Wonder how often they update. I mean, this is probably just directly pulled from the wiki in real time. Anyways, let's do the Genshin duel now. Balls! It's a sword user, released long after Kea. Alhaitham, perhaps? Long after Alhaitham. Either late 4.x or early 5.x. Wait! Is it Chilonen? Fuck, I did this yesterday, didn't I? Fuck, okay, I did it with Nick. No! I did it with Nick yesterday. Fuck. I got... No. Oh, that's fine. I got this one first try, by the way, yesterday. I wasn't confident in it, but I did get it first try. And this one I guessed Yunjin, but it wasn't Yunjin, it was actually Goro. This looks like a cloud, though. Anyways. I forgot who this was. Right, it was Silverwolf. We got it in 2 guesses. Quote. Train or no train, that was March. I remember that. We actually big-brained this. Nick was like, train? It's gotta be Trailblazer, and I was like, no, because this looks too lighthearted and optimistic for Trailblazer. It has to be March, but I don't know which March. And then it was this one. Daily ability. This I kind of got. Anyways, and then this was Haru something. Yeah. That was him. I don't know if I would have gotten it though. Oh well. Anyways. Hmm? Not great. There's no real reason to have Hutao and Chilonen in the same team. Or sorry, Hutao and MAVUIKA in the same team. Digita Hutao. Exercise redeem. Alright. Alright. I think we'll do the quest tomorrow. And we're gonna end stream here for today. We can raid Nick. Actually, no. We're gonna raid. Okay, so streamer extraordinaire Frost Prime is currently doing a subathon. And he set up a bunny cam. Because he started a bunny rescue. And he's one of my favorite streamers, so we're gonna raid the bunny cam. But yeah, so I hope you all have a great rest of your day.